Well, hello, Denton. This is Jake Laughlin bringing you another episode of Discover Denton, a show brought to you by the Denton Convention and Visitors Bureau, highlighting events around Denton. Now, this week we got a very special episode where Kim Phillips of the CVB as well as Dana Lodge of the CVB are going to talk about the Convention Center, which you've probably been hearing buzz about all over town from just about everybody, but we wanted to give you the inside scoop from the folks that actually know what's going on. So, without any more ado, here is Discover Denton.
Hello, Denton, and welcome to Discover Denton Radio. I'm Kim Phillips coming to you from the Denton Convention and Visitors Bureau. Welcome to our show. Today we're going to talk about a topic that's kind of hot around town right now, the Denton Convention Center. Do we or don't we? Passions run high on both sides of this equation, as well as several other topics that are floating around town right now. But we have a specific interest in the Convention Center, and we want to tell you kind of where we're coming from on it and maybe provide some resources for you to make up your own mind about the situation. Today on our show, we've got a guest, Dana Lodge, our Director of Sales here at the Convention and Visitors Bureau. Dana works with groups that want to come to Denton. She also attracts groups to bring their business to Denton. That's her job. That's our mission, bringing business from outside of Denton to Denton to make a positive impact on our hotel tax, our sales tax, our city as an economic driver. And the other thing, though, about Dana that I think is key to mention as to why we have her on the show today, particularly on this topic, is the fact that Dana is actually a professional meeting planner as well. So she comes from both sides of the convention industry, and I think brings a very holistic understanding of what the convention center means as far as the discussions relevant to should we or should we not here in Denton. So, hello, Dana, and welcome to our show.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad to have an opportunity to visit about this very important subject that we have going on in our community right now.
It is, and tell us a little bit, just off the cuff, why is this an important discussion to have? Why not just say, oh, maybe we shouldn't?
Well, I think it's really important from a lot of different levels. One, I think there's a lot of misinformation out there, and I think that there is now places to find the information. The city has provided a great presentation on their website that gives lots of answers to the questions that people have. For one, I think it's good for people to know that that resource is out there on the City of Denton website, right on the homepage.
Yep, cityofdenton.com. Right on the homepage. And it's just to the left of center. And just click on it and you can open it up. There are video resources. There are 49 questions as of right now on the FAQ list. And those questions are all derived from what people have been asking or are unsure or have a lack of understanding about. 49, and it's a living document, so it'll continue to be added to as other questions arise. And then what else is on there? The resources themselves. There are links where the general public can go and look at the developer's agreement, the memorandum of understanding that explains the partnership between the City of Denton, the University of North Texas, and the developer, who is O'Reilly Hospitality Management. So cityofdenton.com. There's absolutely no reason why everybody can't have the same knowledge, and we can at least put to rest some of these rumors of misinformation like you mentioned.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of people don't even have an understanding or aren't quite sure if Denton even needs a convention center. And I've now been at the Denton Convention and Visitors Bureau since 2005, and I can pretty much tell you that we absolutely need a convention center.
You turn business away, don't you?
I turn lots of business away, and what's interesting about it is it's groups that specifically want to come to Denton. They love the city, they love the historic downtown square and how vibrant it is, and want to show that to people that are coming literally from around the world to their conferences, but certainly a lot of state associations as well. So we unfortunately have to send them either to the Fort Worth Convention Center, or we 100% need it. We don't have any facility that has flexible meeting space that can truly do a conference. We have some wonderful facilities on both university campuses, but neither one of those facilities are something that can truly be rented by a meeting planner. Meeting planners for most meetings are booking 2 and 3 years out. Of course, the facilities at the university campuses are first and foremost for their students.
Understandable.
Rightly so. And they're not going to promise any of their meeting space out to an outside entity. Anywhere within a year out would be the greatest, and that's just not how the real meeting industry works. So although those are great facilities for some short-term business, they aren't what would really and truly do a real conference, and none of them really have the setup with a large room and then supporting small breakout rooms to handle what would be considered a real conference, not even our civic center.
Yeah. And also, they don't have a hotel attached.
They don't have a hotel.
And that's important, isn't it?
You really cannot be a competitive entity in the meeting industry if you don't have a hotel attached. So it's pretty much a given that has to be part of the equation.
And we're looking at 97,000 square foot convention center and a somewhere between 275 to 318 room Embassy Suites hotel.
Yes, and what that really means in reality is, it sounds huge at 97,000 square feet, but what that means is that the building has about a 30,000 square foot ballroom with the breakout meeting rooms around it, which translates in a number that makes more sense, a conference of about 750 people or less, or 2 conferences of 300 people, which is the bulk of the meetings that actually occur. So we could do a sit-down dinner for 2,000 in that 30,000 square foot ballroom, but that would be like your Denton Benefit League, something where it is a one-time, it's a meal.
It's not a multi-day convention.
It's not a multi-day convention.
Yeah.
So there's really nothing in our town whatsoever that lends itself to that kind of an arrangement.
No, in fact, we did some research on this over the last few weeks and learned that 91% of meetings held in convention centers across the United States are accommodating 750 people or less. Only 9% of hotels fall in that gigantic realm, which I think that's another rumor that is kind of circulating in the misinformation around town, is convention centers everywhere are seeing business drop off, and that's simply not the case.
No, actually, there's been a lot of information floating around about how convention numbers are declining. And I will be honest, the industry really the economy for every industry in 2008 took a dip. And along with that, meetings took a pretty heavy hit, conventions and meetings. But we are seeing a great increase. That business is coming back, and all of the respected organizations, Meeting Planner International, Successful Meetings, all of the respected organizations that truly track meeting business have the numbers projected as increasing in 2014, 2015, 2016 to back to the numbers prior to 2008. So the industry is really back.
It is back, and I think first of all, Successful Meetings you mentioned, and this is something I'm reading right out of their publication. This was a 2014, May 19th, 2014 article where it says that among meeting planners, meeting and event planners across the United States, 52% of them are forecasting a growth of more than 25% attendance at their events. So it's definitely on the comeback. And remember, that's that 750 and under size conventions. The large convention centers have had a difficult time because a lot of the large conventions have broken up and are now a series of small conventions held across the United States.
Yeah, more regional meetings, more state association meetings.
They're not canceling the meetings. They're having them smaller and in closer to locations so that people don't have to spend as much to get there. But they still go. This is another article that's out of Association Meetings. And it says right here the fact that the value of face-to-face meetings is critical. In other words, we're not going to this web-based world when it comes to meetings. There's things that happen at a face-to-face setting that cannot happen any other way. That's why the meetings industry is not dead.
Absolutely. It is. There's nothing that takes the place of that face-to-face. There's a lot of web meetings when it's a computer-based type learning curve, but that is just one small segment. They, too, are still doing face-to-face meetings. But in general, the meetings are growing like leaps and bounds. We really are back to that number that we had prior. And Denton just doesn't have anything whatsoever that approaches it. And lots of business is being turned away.
Yeah, over 12 million that we've tracked just in the last 5 years or so.
And it's a very conservative number because those are only organizations that have come to us and said, hey, I want to hold my event in Denton. And we don't even track those that we could potentially go after or possibly go after. We're only tracking those that outright connect with us, and then we have to turn them away.
Yeah, we have a clubs and organizations list here with over 100 just local clubs and organizations that have state meetings and board retreats and, special interest gatherings, and not counting our corporations that have so much.
Absolutely. We know for a fact that our corporations are sending their conferences to Fort Worth and other locations, Peterbilt, Sally Beauty. We've got a large number of corporations. The universities have one educational conference after another. So there's just a lot of potential business right here in Denton that wants to hold it in Denton without us even going outside our city limits to find meetings.
And we know the full-service hotel is an important ingredient to this package where meeting planners really are attracted to come here. And full-service hotel means concierge service, 24-hour room service, restaurant, lounge, all of those ingredients, right?
Yeah.
Bell service.
Yes, this will have bell service. It will have, all
those amenities.
All of those amenities.
And we don't have that in Denton at this time.
We don't. And another thing is we've been asked, why not hold this event or have this facility built downtown? But really, this is the perfect location on the apex of both 35E and 35W, where it doesn't invade our historic downtown area. It's just a perfect location for it.
I agree with that. And the eminent domain that would have to be exercised downtown would take a whole lot of people out and relocate them because you need 13 acres. Yeah. Where is that downtown? To build what we need, that's what it would take. One other thing I wanted to address, though, is on that perfect location, the group that's actually building the hotel is the O'Reilly Hospitality Management Group. O'Reilly, as in O'Reilly Parts, that has been around forever and ever. Very, very accomplished, successful business people, obviously. And they're looking to put $100 million into this community, and yet a lot of people think they're inexperienced and this is a really bad idea. What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's one of those other items that are on the misinformation list. Really and truly, the group that is bringing this project to Denton have years and years of experience. Many of them were with the John Q. Hammons organization prior to Mr. Hammons passing away.
And that was the #1 hotel convention center builder in the world.
Absolutely. He's probably built more hotels. For those that are not aware, an Embassy Suites is a Hilton product. So along with this project, we get all the backing of Hilton to make it successful. Just a little sidetrack there, but the actual employees that now work for O'Reilly Hospitality came directly from the John Q. Hammons organization, and they bring years of experience, and including building many projects exactly like ours
that are successful,
that do not fail.
They've never had a failure.
They have never had a failure. They built the Embassy Suites in Grapevine, the Embassy Suites and Convention Center in Frisco, the Embassy Suites and Convention Center in Norman, Oklahoma, and also the one in San Marcos. Again, I don't know if you noticed the trends, but a lot of them are near universities or right across or on university property.
Such as Oklahoma.
Because of the educational conferences that happen with universities. So again, 32 Embassy Suites the architect has already built for the John Q. Hammonds is the architect that is on our project. And the director of operations that's already been assigned for this Embassy Suites is Bob Fugazi, who literally is an icon in the hotel industry. Again, years of experience.
Yep. And if you want to see what they build and how it keeps working and working and working, look at some of those examples Dana just mentioned. Grapevine is a great one. Everybody thinks the Gaylord is the driver in Grapevine, and that is not the case. Gaylord is a resort. It is completely different product than what we're building here. Look at the Embassy Suites at Bass Pro. That is a much better alignment with what we're talking about. I know we're out of time. I'm getting the high sign from my producer, Jake, over here in the corner. So I'm going to thank Dana for being with us today to talk about this subject. If listeners would like to email questions that perhaps we can continue this conversation in future shows, we'd love to do that. You can always email us, jake@dentonradio.com, and he'll pass them on, and we'll talk about the questions on the show. In the meantime, educate yourself. cityofdenton.com, click on the convention center. Know the facts before you start talking. That'll help a lot. A lot of people are talking about things they haven't looked into themselves, so we encourage you. Educate yourself. Be a participant in the discussion. I'm Kim Phillips. Thanks for joining us this week. Have a good one.
There you have it. That was this week's episode of Discover Denton. A big thanks to Kim Phillips of the CVB. A huge thanks to Dana Lodge of the CVB. And before we move on with the rest of the thanks, we wanted to make sure that we point out to all of you musicians listening that this convention center is a great opportunity for you. There's going to be really, really cool opportunities that are going to open up with this convention center for live music. So this is a very, very close to home project that we're very excited about. Anyways, huge thanks to Gravity Feed for providing the intro and outro music. A massive thanks to Ellie Meyer, our queen of editing. I'm Jake Laughlin, your producer. Join us next week. We will be bringing you more highlights of our original and independent city. And in the meantime, go enjoy Denton.